there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter, with a supply stash stretching tutorial for you today. So these are chalk pastels, and I'll show you the box they came from. This is a $10 set of 48 pastels from the Marie's company, but you know, they're pretty comparable to any like student grade pastels that you would get. And after playing with Inktense blocks, I realized that, you know, I think I can get a very similar look with my chalk pastels, and come to find out I could. In fact, I want to show you this really quick before I begin. I took those cheap $10 for 48 Marie's pastels, and I scribbled them out, and then I washed over them with a little water, and I was so surprised at how beautifully and bright those colors were, and they give you kind of a velvety finish, kind of like the Inktense blocks were giving me. So I thought, boy, you know what, if I could use my pastels like this, I could have that huge range of color for very, very little cost. And if you've been creating for any amount of time, if you've been scrapbooking or stamping for any amount of time, you probably even have some chalk pastels in your stash. And it's just a great way to get a little more use out of them, and also get kind of a cool modern look. This would be great for your art journaling and your scrapbooks and your card making, because once we add the water to these pastels, they are going to be quite locked into the paper. They turn more transparent, and they don't rub off. So so it's just another great way to find a new use for your supplies, especially if they've been sitting around collecting dust. So you want to put the pastels on dry like I'm doing here. And this is a old stamp. It's from 1995 by Personal Stamp Exchange. It's a Bird of Paradise. I think I had to have the stamp because my mom had a double of it, and she gave me her double. And you know what? Before today, I never stamped it. Isn't that awful? It's been sitting very beautifully on my shelf for all these years, but that I had never gotten around to stamping it. So I figured, well, this is a great opportunity. So as you can see, I am using smooth cardstock. This is Georgia Pacific. You know, cheapo stuff from Walmart. It's a couple cents a sheet. I think I got a package of 150 sheets for like $5. And let's see, I'm just putting in some colors here, and I am, you know, coloring not really firmly, but I'm not going really light either. Your colors will blend, so I'm not overlapping my colors because I don't want them to get muddy, especially here with the red and the green. So I was feeling just this weekend, and my husband got me these beautiful vegetarian chocolates for Valentine's Day. It's such a treat because it's so hard to find chocolates without dairy in them. And I'm having some, and I'm like, well, they're all right, but I wasn't too excited about them. And then my stomach just felt so squirrely, and I was tired, and I was irritable, and you know, my kids just had a snow day and they're on vacation. I'm like, why am I so cranky? I feel so bad. I'm so cranky to the kids. And then I was so tired, and I had some coffee, and the coffee did not feel well. So I'm I'm on caffeine withdrawal. I'm tired, not feeling well. And so I'm laying on the couch, and I'm flipping through a magazine. I subscribe to Card Making and Papercraft, which is a UK magazine, and I love it because they give you free stamps or some goodie. You get a goodie every month, which is like my favorite. And so I see this ad in there for this. It's basically like a home shopping network over in the UK, and it's called Create and Craft. And I think, oh yeah, I have so many people from the UK that watch my YouTube channel that mention that they buy all of their supplies there. So I'm going to check that out. So I click over there, and you can watch it live on the computer. I was having a great time just laying on the couch feeling pathetic and watching those people present different crafts and different products, and it was a lot of fun. I have to say, I really enjoyed, you know, if I'm going to be miserable, I'm on the couch not doing anything, at least I had something to watch. So that was really enjoyable to me. And I had to think, boy, that's going to be the most awesome job, you know, just like talking about craft products and playing with them. And of course, they have their lovely British accents. It sounds so sophisticated and classy, you know, it's like, I had a great time. And they're also cheerful. So anyway, you know, I will warn you though, you kind of want to buy stuff when you watch it. So if you know, on a budget, or, you know, luckily I wouldn't be ordering things in America from the UK. But, you know, yeah, that could be very, very bad if you had a hard time resisting temptation, but it was fun to watch. And I did learn a lot about the brother scan and cut, because I had, oops, hold on one moment. All right, I'm back. That was a call from one of my children, actually. They're making some big plans on what to do during this vacation. I think they want to get out to the roller rink, but without having their very skilled roller skating mother joining them. We'll see how that works out. All right, so now I've got this colored in, and I'm sure I'll be interrupted in just another second when somebody asks permission for something. But anyway, so what we're going to do is take a wet brush, and you don't want it too wet. You kind of want to even just like run it across your finger a little bit, get any extra moisture off, and then just kind of go in and liquefy the colors. And it does make kind of a nice color to work with here, and it's pretty vibrant. You do need to the colors will blend, but you will want to rinse off your brush if you're drastically changing between colors. Here I'm just gonna go, I'm making sure that I can preserve that lighter edge, and you can tell when your brush is kind of running out. When your paper, when the chalk gets a little streaky, that means you probably need a little bit more water. And don't worry if you paint over it and it gets too light, because you can go over it with more chalk. And the cool thing about these just regular, and these are just plain chalks, is that when you use them dry, they're opaque. When you wash over them with water, they become transparent. So you actually have kind of two looks in one stick. And I love it when I find something, a new way to use my supplies. And actually I was playing with this idea for a few days, but I just didn't feel up to doing a video because I was just very slow. You know, when you just get in one of those moods, you're just very slow. Your thoughts are slow and your movements are slow, and you know, everything you create just is looking, ugh. That's kind of like how I was feeling this weekend. But so just go work your way around and just start liquefying your color. Notice how I'm going from yellow blossom to yellow blossom so that I don't contaminate. I wouldn't want to go right to purple. If I did that, I would be, because yellow and purple are opposite on the color wheel, I would just make mud, and I don't want mud. I want this to be nice and vivid. So if you've been kind of like, oh, I want those Inktense blocks, which they're beautiful, but you know, you really can't afford it, or you just don't know if that's going to be, you know, they're not going to be used for everything. So you kind of have to think, well, is it worth the space it's going to take up? Is it worth the money it's going to cost? Because they are expensive. If you have these inexpensive chalks, you can do a lot of the same techniques. And when you're brushing over it with water, it takes the smudgeability out. So it'd be fine to use in your scrapbooks and in your art journals and cards without worrying about them smudging on their way to the recipient. And you can use whatever brushes you have. I would probably recommend using your acrylic brushes. Your watercolor brushes are fine, but I kind of worry about the chalk maybe drying out the brush. They almost felt a little dry. It's weird to say your brush felt dry, the bristles felt dry, but I'm wondering if it may, I'm using a watercolor brush here, but I think if I'm going to do much more of this, I would switch to my acrylic brushes, which are a little bit more durable. All right, now, so I'm going to want that darker later, so I'll go over that with purple, either while it's dry or afterwards. And I'm going to go in and liquefy this red. I don't want that to blend too much because I don't want mud. We can spread it out a little bit. Tell you the truth, I wouldn't mind going roller skating today. I like to roller skate. I have my own skates. I used to work at a roller rink. It's great fun. Listen to some Village People. Not crazy about all the new music. I do like the disco. I think roller skating and disco are really meant to go together. All right, so here I'm going to go right over that wet area. And if you're going on wet paper, it's going to be very permanent, so you won't be able to blend it out too much. So just to, you know, make sure you're deliberate with where you put your color if you're doing that. And then after it's dry, which some of those white parts should be kind of dry, I can go right over, and actually maybe I'll even grab a lighter highlight here. I can actually go right over and put some nice light highlights. And of course you could do this with pastel pencils as well. And also this kind of gives it a more solid feeling if you're doing this in one of the open areas, because if you go over your lines, it's going to cover them up, your stamped lines, so it's probably best for the more open areas in your design. But you can build up some more color that way. So, you know, it's a fun technique that you can do in your art journals. And even something you could let the kids experiment with. So see how you can get a softer, more opaque look going over it with the other chalks. You know, you might want to let it dry in between. I'm just kind of, I don't want to make you wait around too much, so I'm just kind of doing this while it's still wet. But there, this is my idea I've been playing with. You'll get brighter colors if you work on watercolor paper, because it's got more tooth and it will grab more of the pastel, but I couldn't get my stamp to stamp even on a smoother watercolor paper. It was just too detailed. So I just worked on this smooth cardstock, but you do whatever you want on your project, because it's your project. Isn't that great? That's the best thing about it being your own project. I'm gonna see if I can smooth out that a little bit more. Now the thing I did, the thing that the Inktense has a little bit of a benefit is I could actually go over, if it was an Inktense stick, I can go over that and pick it up, but with the, I really can't do that with these as well. So that's the only thing that, you know, doesn't work quite as well, but let me try it here with this one. Oops, I got too much water there. Might be able to pick up a little, but you can't pick up quite as much as you can with the, although there, I was picking up some there. So there you go. But basically the moral of this video is just to practice and experiment with the stuff you already have. And I hope this gave you some new ideas. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting. Oh, thumbs up and subscribe if you like these videos and you won't miss any other ones. Bye-bye.